Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty. And I want to speak on the new allegations against Fat Joe. And I want to explain to you guys why. I don't want to put nothing on nobody, but these charges against him are probably true. Now, the reason why I feel like I'm qualified to make this video is because I'm from the Bronx. Not only that, I am from Cortlandt Avenue. I am from Park Avenue. I am from Morris Avenue. These places are very, very close, right, to Trinity Avenue, Forest Projects, where Fat Joe grew up at. I'm somebody who's seen Fat Joe, and I will explain to y'all about guys that grew up in the same era that Fat Joe grew up in, right? Fat Joe is around 50 years old. So coming up in his time, it was open and easily known, right, that older guys were dealing with teenage girls. This was a fact. Fat Joe came up in a time, right, where older guys would drive and pick up the popular girls in high school. 15, 16, 17, 18. They did this. Now, as far as the Me Too era and all of that stuff, where guys started getting checked for this kind of behavior, this behavior went largely unchecked. And it was pretty much okay with everyone in the hood until me and my era started coming up. And I'm going to explain to you guys right now that when I was in the Bronx, the culture of the men in my neighborhood, the guys who are now Fat Joe's age, were dealing with younger women. I can remember I was 14, 15 years old. We dealing with the regular floozies in the hood, right? Me and my boys. We met a couple young floozies, right? We had our way with them. And the older guys would take them from us. They would bribe them with more money and alcohol than we did, right? And we were their age. And I remember sometimes those same girls who we had our way with first, we had because I rap. And when I first started rapping, me and my boys, we used to go to this older guy in my building, his apartment, where he would record us. And he had an older brother who's around Fat Joe's age now. And I remember we started hanging out there because they used to have girls that we could also do dastardly things with. But during that era, all of those girls were around our age. And they used to hate when those younger girls who were our age was giving us more attention than them. They used to kick us out so they could have those girls to themselves. I remember more than once going into this apartment. It was a 3-bedroom apartment. First bedroom would be the recording room. And then the 2 other rooms, right? Nasty things would happen. So imagine being myself, 13, 14, 15 years old. You decide to leave the recording room, and on your way to the bathroom, you hearing noises, people getting freaky, right? At one point, one of the doors were off the hinges and they just had a curtain up over the door. Now picture being my age, right? You peek through a curtain and you see 2, 3, 4, 5 grown men, right? In their 20s and 30s, 40s, and they are flipping girls that are 14, 15. All right, no, I'm not 14, not 15, but 16, 17. Flipping them, right? Doing things to these young girls that maybe they experienced before, but maybe not. But I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 of these guys in their 30s, early 2000s. And these young girls were my age or maybe 2, 3 years older, but under 18. That was the culture. When you see people like R. Kelly, right? That was the culture of the era that they came up in. The heavy lack of sexual discipline, penis discipline, right? The lack of social awareness of why it's wrong to do these things. That was the culture with older guys that came up in the 80s and 90s and before that, right? That was socially acceptable until the internet age. All of that. Everybody from the hood knows more than one older guy who were dealing with women that were underage. That's just a fact. So, the allegations against Fat Joe are probably true. Hopefully not, but probably true. Fat Joe probably is the Puerto Rican Diddy. Like, share, comment, subscribe, peace.